Hi guys, it's Candace with Of Course Miracles, Of Course in Miracles. Name is changing soon, like I just said, but I have a full download for you on time. We're going to go straight into it. Time has shifted, and I've been working on this download in May. I got it, and I got it with a couple of other ones that I'm going to be just putting out back to back so that I can just get up to speed so that I can stay on top of the downloads, because I write them down and then I have to like translate them again onto something for you. But we got to talk about time because it has shifted. And what do I mean when I say that? I mean that something happened and something is happening as the planets are moving, these major planets. We are getting a new start in time. And I have no other way to put it other than they told me that they turned the system off and they're kicking it back on. And they're doing a test run this summer, and that we are reactivating grid lines and removing man-made constructs, especially linear time. So that's why we have to talk about what time is again from a new perspective to understand this new time shift. So to do that, the first thing I've got to show you is a cell again, because I want you to remember that a cell is what? It is just above, same as below, a microcosm, macrocosm. It all comes down to energy being a photon of light inside a freaking bubble. And the bubble ain't a bubble. It's just it's light that is reflected, and the reflection is the containment. Okay. And everything is that. Okay. So I want you to see this bubble. And I want you to consider the center of the bubble to be an experience. It's going to be the cap of the experience. Okay. Clearly, when I was doing this, I had a very one track mind because I have chicken wings down as the experience, eating chicken wings. Okay. That's what I was doing. And that is an experience. Okay. A delicious one, by the way. Within this bubble of time of the experience of eating chicken wings, all of the parts that require you to make the chicken wings, buy the chicken wings, season the chicken wings, cook the chicken wings are in that bubble of time. All those experiences compound together because they share a resonance. And so they clump together. Okay. Now, this could go all the way back to the beginning of chicken wings, the chicken and the egg in times reference, all the way up to me making the chicken. If you consider each element within the position of my making to also have its own unit of time. So every time I cooked, those things are clumped together. All the chicken, that's clumped together because everything shares a resonance. It clumps in bubbles. Okay. All of time is just this. It doesn't really exist. So what you need to know is that the bubble is not real. It is but a fractal of light that you access. It's an illusion. You are constantly peeping into time. Okay. And what do I mean when I say that you're constantly peeping into time? I want you to think of it as like your brain is constantly bouncing from experience to experience to experience. It is just light. It's like your consciousness is traveling to this light and experiencing it and going from experience to experience to experience through these light bubbles. Okay. Now, previously, and what we are currently dealing with is the idea of linear time. Okay. And that is where we have shifted, is that our brains put things in linear time, but that does not mean that it actually happened in linear time. It actually happened all at once if you look out far enough. But even if it didn't happen all at once and we had to lay out every single thing it happened, it didn't necessarily happen the way that your mind put the whole thing together. Okay. It's really freaking trippy. Okay. Now, the center of that experience is weight. It has weight. And so it is drawing you towards it via your pineal gland, just like the birds travel north or south from the winter to the summer, and the butterflies, they're guided somewhere. You are guided to these experiences because they magnify and draw you to them. And before, you felt like you were being drawn into something and going in a particular order. But in reality, it's like you are just your consciousness is actually just going into a bubble and looking around and then coming back out. And again, it's being perceived in a linear fashion, but it is not. Your heart is the resonance of the center of this bubble, and your pineal gland is what gets you to this bubble, and your 10th chakra is what plants you to this bubble. And all of these parts of your chakra are actually engaged with this experience when you implant your consciousness. And you're supposed to be on your heart's time. And instead, we've been on Gregorian time and allowing man made time to move us, which is where we're leaving. But I got to talk about this magnetic field of these experiences and what's happening. So it's like we're being drawn into these experiences and then like floating now, because man-made constructs have created too much linearity, and we have been stuck in patterns based on, almost like if you were to take a piece of land and you were to put a stick and you were to drive a groove in it. We've taken these, it's so easy to go in these directions because so it's almost like its own ley line or its own energy current that's unnatural on top of the natural energy currents that are the real time on earth. This idea has been manufactured and isn't real and doesn't flow with our current current, and is like grooves that have just been taken over and over again. And it has been experienced, and we have been locked into these patterns of these linear times that we are no longer supposed to be in. So just look at this. Time looks like it's linear, like I showed you before. This is what time really looks like. It's like just a whole bunch. If you were to take a deck of playing cards and you put them in order in a deck, that is how we experience time. If you were to throw it out and all the cards are just there, that's time. That's an experience. Okay. That's Victorian era. That is the Tudor period. That is whatever we're calling this fucking chaos we're doing now. That is each resonance of time is like bubbled together in these giant piles of mass that we consider reality. Now, what happens is, because these are bubbles, literally, as we are, but if you look into the bubble and you think of it like almost like photon, the reflections of both are what make the line in the center of it. Okay. It's almost like we are branches. Each individual human is like a plant, and we are branches of a tree. The way that growth is, that line that you see, that is the branch that is extracting off. This is like one timeline. All right. And then the branches are like little experiences you had, and maybe fruit came from those experiences. And now you have like a whole experience that is a vessel or is alive on earth. And as we were going through time, it's like we were connecting these dots of these different experiences to learn a lesson. And that is what growth looks like naturally, organically on earth. But everything natural reaches a natural growth point. And what has happened with time is that as we've gone through periods, the Victorian era, the Tudor period, I don't know why I keep talking about those, but I'm trying to give you very concrete examples of periods of time that fit into this larger reality of time, that had full experiences that have dissolved and we have moved on from them. So we went through our, as a society, hunter gatherer, all the way up to the industrial revolution, all the way through to where we are now, which is almost the quantum era. Okay. And we have fulfilled all of these different experiences collectively together, and we have fulfilled the packet of all of them. And so collectively, all of the time has been fulfilled. There's nothing left. And technically, we have been stuck in this portion of the experience for longer than we were supposed to, because we have been using the implanted version of time instead of the real thing. Okay. And on top of that, hold on, let's go back before we go forward. Okay. So we talked about Atlantean, this whole being a chunk of time, right? It would have probably ended sooner if this construct hadn't been inlaid on top of it, creating unnatural grooves to keep us going in a pattern that is stuck. How we know we're going back through time. So the full experience within this time space has been fulfilled. We are now going back, merging experiences, preparing for a duplication. New earth shift, big cell duplicates. That's what I got, right? And some people are going to stay stuck because they're going to be too attached to the man-made construct, and that is going to have to rip off from this one. Because as we're going through fulfilling this time request, we're evolving, but evolution is not what you think it is. But let's I got to say one more. So with each experience, our job is to maximize all of the space and fulfill all of it, okay? And all of the time, which is just traversing through the bubble in all of the directions, covering all of it. Once that bubble is full, boop, we pop into a new one. And that's just like how cells duplicate for birth, right? Remember that. But what happens if instead of growing, they're just trying to make this one bubble bigger so that we stay in this time? Then the new cell kind of has to, like, if it wants to survive by growing, it has to split off and separate. So each human on the planet is connected to the earth in a couple of ways. One is through the 10th chakra, which is connected to your feet. You are rooted to the earth, okay? And this is the connection to ancestor timelines and all earth timelines. So every path you've walked on earth is within this collective resonance of light at your feet that is your chakra, okay? And it is just you can connect to this and get all ancestor lineages, all traumas from your ancestors, and anything that was trauma from your human life on earth, okay? They have walked all the miles. They've been all over this joint. And remember, it's a collective experience. So we don't all individually have to have it to have shared it to grow. Okay. The next day we are all connected is through vivaxis. It's an energetic cord that is like our umbilical cord to earth. That is what our avatar needs to get the nourishment that it needs from earth. And this is another way you are connected to the natural version of earth through your 10th and through this vivax, okay, which is literally like a energetic cord attached to literally where you were born. So if it was at a hospital, if it was on a farm, wherever it was, it's connected to that. And literally pulling up all the energy from that land now. You can move your vivax to your house or where you feel most at home, by the way. Just concentrate on it. If you want to know how, just ask me. But it's where your nourishment from your homeland on earth comes from and is connected to the greater earth. These two things are moving with the new time. It don't stay in the old time, okay? Because those are your spiritual bodies. And as we shift, it's going more towards nature, okay? Okay, and so the man-made construct is not malleable. It is fixed. While Earth and her natural ley lines and all of the natural energetic points on her planet, they're malleable. She's a bubble. She's not some fixed stone in the sky, guys. She moves, okay? And all these lines move with her, crossing and moving, and it's all moving, okay? The man-made is so fixed and not growing with her. It's almost like grooves that are too deep. It's cutting into her, and she's got to grow without it. So while evolution is going back to go forward, and I'm going to talk about that together, we are still they're trying to stick you to this timeline so that you don't grow with the new earth and that you stay keeping this one alive, even though it's an illusion. It's not holding together a good resonance, even though the other one is growing. And you should be shifting with the new earth with all of your energy. Okay. And let's talk about this from the point of evolution. Evolution is simply growth, right? And it's our light vessels getting larger. When we all get larger, the light comes back together again and we unite into one being again, okay? We go up in dimensions, we refine our vessels, our light gets brighter, and as you go up, you get to being the containment of the all, the 13th dimension. That's evolution. So while mankind is growing up, it's growing more collected and together, okay? And that is where the new earth is going. So to grow collected and together, we were each individually on our own timelines before, based on what our goals were and what we are trying to do as a mission. These timelines got messed up because we are so implanted in earth structures that are not real. As they have been rebooting the system with these time changes, literally, I want you to imagine turning something off and turning something back on, flushing the system each time to clean it, removing dark energy and removing trauma and removing whatever we purify is ready to be flushed when we purify it. That's what's happening this whole year. To get the new earth like ready to split, to be cleaned and split, right? It's literally separating them. So it feels like time glitches. Last week felt like you went through many portals. You looked up, it was 3:00 and you didn't know where the time went. It's because of this. And how it works is like you get thrust into an experience and like you get lost in it. and then thrust into an experience and get lost in it. And it's almost like we're being magnetized towards something and then floating into something else. When before it was like we were walking in this line like sheep. We are now like naturally experiencing time outside of ourselves in a new way. And with that, what you need to know is when they kickstart or restart the system, our new time, to get in the new time, you've got to be aligned with planet Earth. Gardens, sundials, off of media, off of television. I'm not joking about this. Off of, like, get out of time at least for a minute so you can see what the other one is like and get into the natural world. You have to be with nature. We are on the same timeline as nature now, collectively, in a way that we were not before. Everything is working seasonally. Your business is working seasonally. Your lifestyle is working seasonally. Everything is moving with that time on the new earth, and you got to get in line. And the only way to get in line is to release. And we are going through the practice of what that looks like this summer before shift 26 is what I'm getting. Okay. That is all I have for this download. You need to see the copy and you need to see the activation. Those are two very important components of this to fully get the download. Why? Because you are probably trying to activate into the right timeline. Hire me for a soul activation session to get into the timeline. This is where the astrology and the gene keys and the human design come in. They are there literally to get you in the timeline. I'm now offering cleaning sessions that's coming on the website next because you need to be purified. That's real, y'all. Purified to get into this timeline and remove the constructs that are holding you back. It's very important. That is what we're working on all year round. All light workers will be working on this. If you have been called to heal the land, if you've been called to heal people, if you have been working on your art, this is for you. Okay. So read the download, look at the art piece, download it, put it somewhere so that you can concentrate on it, meditate with it. It'll tell you how. We're on to the next video, which is about light workers.